rejection. I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Boxes, boxes. I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, stop it. Quitting was never an option. Exhausted, exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. Nah, you cannot stop it.
Check, check. Check 1, 2. New York over everything. Let's go Knicks. Yo, check it. There's a stark difference. See, I come from these streets when it's checkout time. I'm bagging anyone who wants me. Raps the richest story, so I have to take advantage. Hold it down for those around me. Like 23, I'm a savage. You average, I ravage. And if my team is trailing, you can call me Mr. Clutch. My rhyme skills resemble Jalen. Small bully ball, my execution is timely. Like Burks, I move on and leave a losing team behind me. Now my style's a lot more polished, and I strive not to be reckless. Rings always on my mind, I fight for it, my precious. Battle tested like Bogdanovic, my skill set's a conglomerate. A legacy of grit, the opposition has to honor it. The heart in number 3, here's a L, you can wear it. You hate when I speak facts, some couldn't bear it. Start slow to speed it up, attack from every angle. Beats on the strength, count me out, I'll buzz like Randle. Rough around the edges, yeah, I'm far from perfection. Put me to the test, I guarantee you'll face rejection. I heart, I soul, I am not one to downplay. I can do it all, the versatility of Dante. So doubt me all you want, that's fine, it's how you feel. But don't be surprised when you make my highlight real. I'm real stubborn in my views of hip-hop. I'm like Tibbs, cause old school beats and rhymes is where I'll always live. Place my bets on my vets, security in an OG. The only ones who test me are the ones who do not know me. So homie, try to hold me and get outlined in chalk. Like McBride, you are not built for these miles that I've walked. Keep the talk on lock so that I don't have to check ya. And if you need to find me, you can find me at the Mecca. You can find me at the Mecca. Yeah, blue and orange everything.
Good morning, Knicks universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Knicks Morning Brew on this Monday, February 12th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, hanging out with the compañeros. I got my guy Phil the Prophet, I got my guy Eddie the Presty, and I got my brother Mr. Jiggaman Porto. And all you Knicks fans, wake up and get your coffee. Fellas, how are we doing?
What up? It's Monday morning. Anybody else faking full energy? I'm already on monster number 3, and it's not even 11 a.m. All right?
I am glad the Taylor Swift Bowl is over. It is over. It is over. Well, it's over for 2 things, right? I'm happy for 2 things. One, that means the grind of the NBA season is about to kick up to another gear. We're on that march to the postseason. And the second one, that means that Yankees baseball is around the corner. But I gotta save that conversation for another show and another time, fellas. Go ahead.
But since you did bring up Super Bowl and stuff, I gotta ask you guys. Favorite commercial? Did you guys watch last night? I know you did. What commercial was your favorite? Eddie? Phil,
I have no idea. I didn't even watch the commercials.
Oh my God! Blasphemy!
I honestly I didn't watch. I wasn't even paying attention.
Phil?
Dang. There was one that had me cracking up. I can't even remember it right now because I didn't know you were going to be asking this question. So
no, that's great. I'm proving the point that $7 million in ad spend and nobody can remember a freaking commercial.
I can tell you the commercial that I was favorite for. There was two of them, right? The first one was the Deadpool and Wolverine teaser. That was like my top favorite one right there. And the second one was the teaser for the Twisters movie, right? Because I grew up, every time me and my family we went on road trips to Florida, we always watched the Twisters movies like in the car going down there. So yeah, I was super excited about those two.
I don't remember my first favorite. It was so many like celebrities in it that it was like hilarious. I'm trying to remember. I'll remember sometime at this episode. But my second favorite was the Ben Affleck commercial with J-Lo and Fat Joe. That joke was hilarious. He was I told you I would do anything for you. This is anything. You know, Matt Damon, you know, that joke was hilarious. That was really funny. But one thing we noticed was like we went from the days of where the Super Bowl commercials were all about like the creativity and thought process that went behind it to now every single commercial is based around if you can hire a celebrity to be in your commercial. Like you think of every single commercial, you had everybody from like Arnold Schwarzenegger to Matt Damon, you know, all these people in these commercials. And that's how ads are being used, is like just star power as opposed to like actual like hilarious or great content power.
I want to say the secret star of the show, and I'll say it real quick and I'll throw it over to you. You know, everybody wanted to highlight Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, but there was one person to me that stole the show. And that person, their name is Isis, aka Ice Spice. Shout out Ice Spice, looking like she was annoyed at Taylor Swift every time the camera panned to her. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got over 60 people in the building rocking with us. If you guys can, please smack that like button. We are sitting at 3,476 subscribers.
24 more.
The funny thing about the Ice Spice thing is like you are in the Taylor Swift like suite. You know the camera is going to continue to like pan to her and go to her. So it's like you put yourself in a clout chasing position and then continued to be frustrated that you were on camera with the person that's getting you the clout that you seeked for at the Super Bowl. Like, they're not panning to Ice Spice at all if she was there without Taylor Swift. Like, she would get no camera time.
Point blank. I tweeted yesterday.
Ice.
The only thing that mattered yesterday was Alicia Keys. I'm right there with you, building blocks. How you doing? Okay, let's do a roll call. Now, real quick for everybody in the chat. Those of you, you know, we're doing all kinds of giveaways. Today, let's do every super chat or buy my coffee, $10 or more. We'll do a Knicks Morning Brew mug duck race today on the show. We also got our boy. I see him backstage. He's going to jump in, take my place here in a second. But heck, why don't you do a roll call? And before I do that, I might as well bring in our boy real quick.
Our uncle. Let's bring in our guy, Mr. Theo Al Centron is in the building.
Yeah.
How you feeling, brother? Good morning.
I'm good. I heard you say Ice Spice and almost threw up my eggs and gluten-free bagel, bro.
Don't be hating, okay? Don't be
I'm not. She's. I'm sorry. Besides,
horrible.
Besides the junk in her trunk, she's not talented at all.
Hold on. You think you is shit? You're not even a fart is one of the hardest lines out there. Let me do the roll call real quick. Our future media is in the building. Louisiana Knicks is in the building. Our guys Ron and John over at Stale Knicks Fans is in the building. Salute. 3 capital S's. Like I said, if you guys can, please smack the like button. Our guy Walter Blackman is in the building. Jacob Petruzzi, building block is in the building. Jeep the best. Wiz, the Wiz kid from LA is in the building. Our guy CP the artist. How are you doing, my friend? Al, I'm going to throw it over to you real quick. First, get your take real quick. Make it fast on the Super Bowl. And let's just jump into the conversation, starting with the Knicks, and throw it over to my guy, Eddie Presti. Go ahead, Theo Al. You got a beautiful ceiling, by the way. I just got to let you know that. Very nice craftsman's work on the ceiling. Oh, I guess he froze and had to come back. All right, Eddie, I'll throw it over to you, my guy. Takeaways from the game. I know you did the bottom line, but what was your thoughts? Obviously, we lost, Let's get into it.
Listen, man. Indiana beat us at our own game. They shot 61% from the field, 48% from the three. They out-rebounded us, got more points in the paint. You know, they did everything that we usually do to win, and we couldn't play defense to save our life. So it is what it is. When you have guys like TJ McConnell, you know, going 8 for 10 from the field and beating you deserve to lose. So it is what it is. We got to get healthy. That's the bottom line with this team. We got to get healthy, and we need our players back. And until then, we're going to be struggling. That's it. We got to get healthy. Got to get healthy. With this All-Star break can't come up.
Yeah. Ed, throw it over to Theo Al. Theo Al, get your take.
Do I sound better?
Yeah. It was just like choppy or whatever. It came right back in. It's real good.
No,
now.
I took my headphones off. Fucking Samsung. I took them off. So quickly, you talked about your favorite Super Bowl commercial. I like the Kia commercial with the grandfather coming to the window to watch his granddaughter ice skate. Yeah. That one was the one that stood out to me because I'm an emotional person, you know, and that really tugged at the strings of my heart. So that one was good. As far as the game, you know, I had to watch it from the studio. I couldn't listen to the game because, you know, I was obviously on the air. But I'm not losing any sleep over losing that game. We were missing 3-4 guys, key guys. Indiana's a great front runner. When they're winning, boy, they talk a lot of shit and showboat. But when they're losing, they're nowhere to be found. So I said it on the air, and I'll say it again. I want a rematch with the Heat in the playoffs. I want the Pacers in the playoffs. And I want the Celtics in the playoffs. I want to knock out all three of those teams on the way to NBA Finals. Will we get to the finals this year? Who knows? But if we're fully loaded, I'll put this team up against anyone.
For Al, that was my issue too. Like I love to talk shit. I'm a shit talker, right? But my thing is, if I'm able to talk this shit, if I'm going to talk it, I better be able to take it when it's being dished my way. And that's my issue with Indiana. The same way how you pointed it out. Now, all of a sudden, you're up, you're winning, and you want to start talking ass. You want to start acting a fool on the bench. Well, guess what? Second time when we meet up or third time when we meet up, let's see if you keep that same energy. That's all I love to say. Just keep that same energy. Phil, I'll throw it over to you. Go ahead, bro.
How about when Obi Toppin played himself with that dunk?
I was waiting for Phil to go to bring that up. I didn't, because I know that's Phil's boy. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. Nah, you know, at the end of the day, you got to look at it for what it is. You know, like they had a full roster, like which, you know, at a full roster, you have everybody. We've given them enough time to actually adjust and fit with Siakam, you know, so it's not like the first few days that Siakam's played with them, you know, he's learned to be able to gel with them. I think that was like game 12 or 13 that he's played with them. It was game 1 with us and Burks and Bogdanovic. And we don't have Randle. We don't have Mitch. We don't have iHeart. We don't have Sims, you know, like we had absolutely zero actual centers to be able to play. And where did they destroy us from the most? In the paint, you know, like Precious could only do so much, you know, and Taj, salute to Taj. I can't play a half court game up to 21 without my ribs starting to hurt. You saw Taj walking up and down at the same age pretty much as me, you know, playing a full-on NBA game, and he was hurting. You could tell he was holding his rib. Like, I'm exhausted, you know, like I'm trying to pull the weight of not having a big, and I'm a guy that should be playing 8 minutes a game, you know, at 38, 39 years old. So shout out to Taj and all his hard work. But at the end of the day, you got to look at the things that we can get from that game that are promising. First, we lost by 14 without all of those guys there against a young, healthy Indiana Pacer team. You know, so it's not like we got blown out, because if we would have got blown out, there would have been more things to be concerned about. Second, in the first game that Alec Burks was playing with us, he fell right back into what he was doing with the Knicks when he was with the Knicks, you know? So you look at him and, you know, he had a few things where he like turned it over and you would be like, what the frick are you doing? But then he would come right back down and just stop and pop for 3. And you're like, okay, I forgive you. You know, like it was very short-lived frustrations with Alec Burks in that game. But he went, you know, and he had 22 points, like first night back in the Knicks jersey, contributing 22 points. Bogdanovic didn't have a great scoring game, but he showed some things that we were like, wait, hold up. Bogdanovic off the dribble, like taking someone to the hoop, like this is promising. He's not just a stop and pop 3-point shooter that we've seen time and time again. He had a steal, he was playing defense. So these are things we can go, okay, if Randle, iHeart, Mitch, OG, any of them, if any of them were healthy and Burks was giving us those 22 points off the bench and Bogdanovic was giving that off the bench, then we would have walked away with that game no problem. So I'm not concerned. My only concern is when are these guys coming back? How did the surgery go? We know that OG had surgery, but how is it looking? Does it seem like it's going to be a promising, yes, 3 weeks he'll be back? Or is there concern for more? How long's iHeart going to be out? The question marks are the scary thing, because without a big and without those guys, it's going to be, a hard time. And I don't want to go too far into this season with backup reserves. It's like the movie The Replacements, except Keanu Reeves isn't coming out and like all of a sudden making us like an elite team out of nowhere. So I want to just see what happens, but I don't want to jump out the window like some Knicks Twitter are. Shout out to my guy, Ari. Ari, some people call him toxic Twitter to the max, but he was on with Eddie and our guy Deej with Ian Begley the other night after the game. And, Ari was like, yo, I know I can tend to be toxic, but I'm actually happy with the moves that were made. Like our front office did a good job. This shows promise. So Burks and Bogdanovic were a great trade, and I think they're going to add to it. So don't lose sleep over that game.
Go ahead, Al.
Eddie, go ahead. Actually, go ahead, Eddie.
I think the Knicks and Taj Gibson need to cut bait. I mean, I've seen enough.
Don't be hating. Watch him out.
I'm not hating. I just think he's finished.
No, you a hater.
And they should have went after Biyombo. Let's be perfectly honest. Biyombo was a much better option than Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson can't even hit a 2-foot jumper. I mean, it's pretty bad. I like Taj Gibson, but he should be in a suit and a tie, not in a uniform. That's all.
I think the Wi-Fi receptor that's your mohawk on the top of your head is fucking up right now.
Okay.
Here's the one thing I will say.
Okay, Hector. Yeah, he's great.
I'm joking.
No, Eddie, here's the only thing. My only rebuttal to that is, yes, he's not playing elite basketball. But the difference between the difference between him and Biyombo is Biyombo was playing before he didn't have a team. Taj was chilling at home when the Knicks are like, hey, we're going to sign you real quick. All right, cool. We're not going to use you anymore. Oh, okay. Now that you're back in your home clothes and you're back to eating, normal food, chilling, eating pizza, on the couch. Hey, we're going to use you again. That kind of up and down is going to take a toll on anybody. You're trying to get your body and your mental and your game ready to play again. And all of a sudden you're dropped. And then like 5 days later, hey, we need you again. 2 days later, hey, we don't. That's a lot of up and down for the guy. So I'm not going to crucify him because at the end of the day, he is one of the only guys that would come in at 38 years old and commit to the Knicks team and play almost 20 minutes when we are completely at like the end wits of not having a single center. So I'm not going to crucify the guy.
And I think when
for a month too, by the way, he was
no. But I think when the Knicks signed him, also right, they wanted to save that top tier when it comes to that mid-level section or the top veteran exception when it comes to the buyout market. They probably didn't want to spend that, and Bismack probably would have cost that instead of what Taj cost them, right? So now with the buyout market being what it is, and we do got some guys coming back from injury, I could see hypothetically Taj getting that job as a staff member, being on the bench as a staff member, but you can't take away the credit or the flowers that Taj Gibson deserved for stepping up when we need him. He was literally at home. If you follow him on Instagram, he has a basement where he works out, a little treadmill, a little weights and stuff like that. So I want to give Taj a little bit of grace and a little bit of patience, just because he's been a warrior for us for the past few years. He's a solid pick and roll guy. If he could set that pick better than most people can when it comes to being that 15-man on the bench. So I always want to save space and give him a little bit of credit. But I agree with you, Eddie. We do need to look at that buyout market, especially if it's just for the next couple of weeks. Robin Lopez is available. I'm not sure how you guys feel about the Sasquatch Robin Lopez. I'll throw it over to Al to get his take on what the Knicks should do.
I talked about that on there. Him, Thaddeus Young's another guy you can add to this bench for short term. You need a productive body. No disrespect to Taj Gibson. He was thrown into the starters role because Jericho Sims was sick. Even I was shocked. I was on my way to the station. I go, he's starting? Oh boy. And no disrespect to him again, but they have to fill that spot. I don't care. For me, I know everybody wants the guys to come back healthy. I don't care if Ihart doesn't play tonight. I don't care if he plays the next game against Orlando. The All-Star break is coming at a perfect time. You sacrifice these 2 games here if need be, win or lose, and then you let those guys get extra rest. That way, after the All-Star break, all guns blazing. As far as OG goes, I got a text message before their surgery was announced by Carlos Ortiz, a co-worker at the station. He said, hey, because he works at NBA radio as well. He said, hey, OG's getting an MRI. He got an MRI. That's what I heard. It's worse than what you think. And I said, I knew it. And then what happened like a half hour later, I put out the tweet. He had surgery. I think he had the surgery. I don't think he had it that day. I think he had it sooner than that. And the Knicks were just playing the cards correctly instead, so they wouldn't get fleeced. They didn't give him any first round picks, which was beautiful. And now you let OG get healthy, and you let Hartenstein rest up. So after the All-Star break, and this team will be fine. If they didn't have OG, Precious, they didn't make the moves they made, I'd be worried about getting home court. But the fact that this team has the deepest team in the league, yes, I said in the league. I don't care what seed we are, as long as it's top 6. I'll put it again against any one of these fucking teams. None of them scare me. The Knicks' biggest opponent is health.
I agree.
Yeah. Listen, I for Knicks fans or people out there that's hating on Taj Gibson right now, I got one thing to say. If Giannis Antetokounmpo could be in the NBA, then Taj Gibson should be in the NBA. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
Go ahead, Phil.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing I'll say about, what Al was saying. All-Star break, we talked about it, the other day. All-Star break for us is a blessing in disguise. Like this is the perfect time for us to be dealing with injuries because it gives us that extra cushion of time for our players to recover. Like if we would have had our guys get injured right about now or, even right after the All-Star break, then we would have been screwed. But the fact that they get this extra week of just like, hey, let your bodies relax, let your bodies recoup, that's huge for us. And at the end of the day, these next few games, like he said, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like our seeding is we are doing well. I don't see tonight really being a concern, even with the deficit of guys that we have personally. But we'll see. But even if we lost these 2 games, if it meant that our guys come back even healthier at the end of All-Star break, then that's better to me than rushing them for 2 games that really are kind of pointless, at the end of it. If it means that we keep those guys for the long haul, I would rather do that, come back after All-Star break and just kick everyone in the freaking mouth. So that's my goal, is see what happens after All-Star break. And that's why I wouldn't necessarily jump free agent for trade market right now at the buyout market to get a big, because if, let's say we know that Ihart's going to be back right after All-Star break and Sims is going to be back right after All-Star break, I don't want to fit that roster spot with a big if we're not going to wind up needing him after the All-Star break. I would rather use that spot for someone that we're going to wind up needing to use down the road, someone that can actually like do something off the bench if we use them. But we'll see. I don't know, but I'm not worried.
I just worry because the Achilles is nothing to play around with. Usually that it's fatigue that causes that. So that is that I worry about the Achilles. Not a sprained ankle or a sprained hamstring. It's the Achilles, and you're jumping up and down, up and down. That worries me. Give that man as much rest as possible. All you need right now is a center that could rebound and play some defense and clog the paint. That's all you need. You don't need a scoring center. Hello, we have Mitch Robinson doing those things. Robin Lopez is a big body. I'm not saying he's Shaq, but he's better than what we have right now. No disrespect again to Taj Gibson. We need that. Plus, he's a good bench guy. We had, what's his name? Theo, that was a solid bench guy in terms of for energy. Yeah, for energy. He was fun. Robin Lopez is the same way. So he'd be great with this group of guys. He fit right in.
Yeah.
And when you talk about fatigue, I'll throw it over to you, Eddie, real quick. When you talk about fatigue, we got to factor in the point that this is the first time in Isaiah Hartenstein's career that he's been starting and clocking this amount of minutes and these level of minutes as well. We're in February right now. Isaiah Hartenstein when he was with the Clippers, he wasn't playing almost 40 points a game. Hell, let's just say 40 points a game because we know Tom Thibodeau, he was never playing 40 points per game. Pressure minutes right now in the month of February. Go ahead, Eddie.
Now, look, as far as the buyout market goes, most of these guys in the buyout market right now, a lot of guards, there's Marquise Morris, I don't know. I think he'd be maybe a nice fit to bring in.
He would be a nice piece.
If you could get him, I think he'd be a perfect fit. I know he's not really, a prototypical center, but right now that's what we need. And anybody we're bringing in, whether it's a guard or a center, it's going to be only for a few weeks because all these guys are going to be coming back in March, middle of March. That's when our team's going to come back. And that's what we need. Come middle of March, we need all our players to be back. And I hope that we at least get about 10 games together so they all could play. So we have some kind of chemistry moving into the playoffs. That's what my hope is for moving forward.
I just want to take a quick pause real quick. I'll throw it over to Phil and Al. We are sitting at 114 people watching us right now collectively. If you're watching us on Twitter, if you're watching us on Instagram or Facebook, click the link in the bio. Jump on over to YouTube because we got 100 people in the building. So if you guys can, please smack that like button and hit the subscribe button because we are sitting at 3,476 on the subs and 47 on the likes. Eddie, can you let the people know how poor we are right now? Let them know.
Listen, we're a poor and broke and pathetic network. Okay, we have no money whatsoever. If you could buy us a coffee and just give us, even if it's $1 or $2, the thing is right down there. Just put your camera on the whatever the hell it's called, and just give us $1 or $2. That's all we need. We're trying to go to spring training. These guys are trying to go up to New York. They're going to fly Spirit Airlines or Frontier Airlines. Just whatever you can give us to get us up to New York. We're going to stay in some cockroach-infested motels. Yikes. Whatever you can do to get us up there, please. It's not much. $1, $2, whatever you can.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
All
and
right.
If you have any Uber coupons so they can share with the roaches and the mices and the
or Metro, we need that.
I understand asking for contributions, but y'all making me feel impoverished real quick. Like that was crazy. So I personally will do what I have to do to not stay with these guys at that hotel. I will stay on a family member's floor before that. But yes, we will be in the city at the end. Well, not even at the end of this month. We will be partnering with our guy Tony, aka the Thanos of Knicks Twitter, and we will be doing a watch party with them at Blarney's on the 24th. Is it?
That's the
on the 24th, on Saturday the 24th. That's the Celtics. Will be there pre-game, during the game, and post-game. And then on that Monday, we have a section for that Pistons game that we have a group of tickets that we want to actually connect with those of you that are watching. So if you are interested in going to that game with us, please put something in the notes in that open panel. Let us know that you guys want to be part of that event or part of the watch party so we can get you guys that information. We just want to connect with you guys while we're there. Any contributions help. Buy us a coffee or join the duck race. Like if you don't want to just contribute, but you want to contribute and have a chance to win something, we totally understand. So if you put a $10 super chat or coffee, you will be entered into the duck race to win the Knicks Morning Brew mug that we just released yesterday.
We're trying to do something as we get closer to the game on the 25th, right? What we're going to start to do is if we could get enough super chats put together, if it could equal up the total price of the ticket, we'll do a giveaway for one of the tickets. So on face value, if you was to look up the tickets, it's the game against the Pistons. The cheapest ticket is about $150 or $160 in that area. We were able to get the tickets for the cost of $120 with the taxes and everything. So you're saving about $40. It's in the Pepsi Lounge. You got your own private food vendor that's up there, your own private entrance. It's a nice time. Like I said, Detroit versus the Knicks on the 26th. If you guys are interested, keep on the lookout. We'll drop the link so you guys can buy that ticket. And Al, I see you already put your hand up. We already figured that you was already going to come. So we're going to throw you in there. We're gonna figure it out. Phil, show them the merch that we just
so we got some new merch in the merch store. because, you know, you guys support us and you've asked if we have anything. So we try to create designs that we would actually wear, not just something that says Knicks Morning Brew or Morning Brew Sports or something that just says we love the Knicks or something like that. So we actually created a bunch of designs. So this is what we got. Let's share that screen. Boom. So we got this right here, which is the My Guard Stays on Point tribute. This is all of our favorite point guards through the year of the New York Knicks. We got Aaron Judge, little anime tribute, All Rise. We got hoodies, shirts.
That's Al's favorite player. I heard that's Al's favorite player.
we got Take It Back to 69 because as Jets fans, we have to go back that far to be happy. We got Morning Brew mugs. That's what we're giving away. We got some Yetis because Eddie's wife and all of our other, Jerry's wife and all of our wives like to use coffee cups when they should be using Yetis in the car. We got these kicks right here. So we actually have sneakers. We got a little fanny pack if you want to have us three and Jerry rocking on your fanny pack. We got this all-star Jalen Brunson hoodie and the shirts, Captain Clutch hoodie, OG Corp, little OG and an Obi, some AirPods, some backpacks, more mugs, Jigga's ugly face on a mug with Italy Jet. Wake up and grab your coffee and a little pin set right here. So we got a ton of merch. So if you guys
and in the works, just so everybody know, in the works are the merch for Eddie and Al's Mets Evening Brew. So when that show pops up, we'll have some merch for that one as well. Super excited about that one.
That's going to hurt me to design. It's going to hurt my heart. My fingers
make
are
sure, make sure you put all your heart into that, though.
And of course, working on some designs for some stuff for Al when it comes to being the obnoxious Knick fan that we all are. So shout out to everybody that's in the chat. And our guy CT Pittman with the $49.99 super chat who's been helping us out this entire time. CT Pittman, appreciate you, brother.
Somebody hit a parlay last night.
In spirit. Yeah.
Yo. Bro, so let's talk about it.
Actually, Randle, hold on. Jerry hit his bet last night for going into overtime. He let us know. He put it for Bet MGM. He was like, he was talking about it for weeks, and he hit that shit. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. So Jerry, if you're listening, you know, no Spirit Airlines for us, bro. You won that parlay, but when it comes to that thumbs down, that was actually hilarious. Like that, you know. First of all, I give the guy credit for the cojones to actually try that kind of dunk in a game, you know, when he's actually got defenders on him. That's typically a dunk that's only tried if nobody's around you whatsoever. But it was straight up, like, if you're old enough to remember, it was a straight up Sprite commercial moment where, you know, you go up feeling super, super high about yourself, and all of a sudden you get rejected by the rim. And you could see it on his face. He was like, frick, you know, and then going to the other side, Randle standing up and giving him the thumbs down. That was hilarious. See, Randle, that's the thumbs down that we at MSG love and support. Keep that thumbs down in your repertoire.
Rumor has it that when Obi missed the dunk, Tom Thibodeau looked at Rick Carlisle and said, "See, that's the shit I'm talking about."
Stupid.
I watched that from the station, and I got a text saying, "Did you see this shit?" I can't believe he pulled that. Bad enough, he was starting the season in Indiana, then benched, getting limited minutes, and then you do that shit. Out of all teams, you miss it against the Knicks. Out of all, at the Garden, no less. He just looked like a straight up clown doing that. And I've always been an Obi supporter, but that's not a winning player move right there. No. It's not. He could have did it. He could have threw it off the backboard and had a better chance in catching it and making an even bigger splash than between the legs, looking like a jackass. And he will be on Shackton this week.
Oh yeah, he should be, man. And when it comes to Obi Toppin, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I was super excited when the Knicks drafted him. I thought we got a steal when we drafted Obi Toppin. He fell to us 8th in that draft, but he never lived up to the expectations. Like you said, Al, that type of move is not a winning move. Yes, if you would have knocked that dunk down, if you would have made that dunk, we're having a different conversation. But in the middle of the game, when you're in Madison Square Garden, you already know the storylines, and you missed that dunk, you're just laying it out for you to be laughed at and made fun of on social media. And he was. The Knicks fans in the building, they let him hear it. Julius Randle standing up with the thumbs down was hilarious. And like I said, I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau looked over at Indiana's coach Rick Carlisle, was like, "See, that's the shit I'm talking about."
He did the Jordan. He did the Jordan shrug. He went like this.
He's like, "See."
He's a one-trick pony anyway, that guy. He can't defend. He's a corner, he's a corner bitch. All he can do now is hit the three in the corner.
Damn, Eddie.
Yeah,
Eddie.
If you don't know about it, that's the Twitter streets coming out of me. They used to call him the corner bitch because that's
damn.
In the corner, so. I know. I'm good on Obi Toppin.
Appreciate you, David Rios, for 199 super chat. And again, when it comes to the thoughts and the thoughts and emotions that have been expressed on the show, they come from Eddie Presti and Eddie Presti alone.
Mike. Yeah, from the Roaches to Killing Spirit Airlines, which they do suck, from Frontier Airlines to now Corner Bitch. What the fuck, bro?
That's your co-host, bro. That's your co-host. Good luck.
No, I can deal with it. The Bustelo hasn't kicked in 100%, so I can deal with it. I can deal with it. It just hasn't kicked in yet. I wasn't ready.
I just want to shout out Shanti from Twitter. Thank you, Shanti. They brought us a coffee over there on buymeacoffee.com/morningbrew sports. And as well, Steven, I'm not sure if we highlighted this on the last show, but Steven brought us a coffee and he had a message for us. He said, "Guys, thanks for yesterday. Came out of the hospital and put you guys on. It was a help. You guys on my new go-to, especially in the morning. Steven, we hope all is well. Hit us up on social media. Let us know if everything is good. Let us know if you need anything. Appreciate everybody for supporting us. We are sitting on 68 likes right now on the stream. We got over 150 people in the building. So if you guys can, please smack that like button. It doesn't hurt you. It's free. Like Eddie said, we're fucking poor over here. So just smack the like button. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm.
Damn.
Broke.
Damn.
Yeah. Go ahead. Someone take the mic.
You just caught me off guard with all this shit, bro.
You caught me off guard. This whole poverty mindset is crazy.
All right. So the New York Knicks, they put out on Twitter, Jalen Brunson and Carmelo Anthony are tied for second fastest to reach 3,000 points as a New York Knick. When it's all said and done, Jalen Brunson, he's in a unique spot right now. He could be the savior that this franchise has been waiting for. Phil, I'll throw it over to you and throw it over to Al as well. What does it mean when it comes to those 3,000 points and tying Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah, for me, it's huge. You look at Jalen Brunson and you look at Carmelo Anthony, that are both in probably my top 5 to top 8 Knicks of all time, like those two guys. And you got to look at what it looks like with what Jalen Brunson has achieved. Like, we knew what Carmelo was going to be and what he already was when we brought him over. We knew that he was a bucket getter. Like, you look at his stats, he actually, if you go based off of stats and not publicity, he beat LeBron James for Rookie of the Year. Like, statistically, his stats were better than LeBron's. It was just a narrative that the NBA filled by, buying into this young kid. He had to be the, Rookie of the Year that year. But stat-wise, Carmelo Anthony, off the bat, was that guy. Jalen Brunson has become that guy in a New York Knicks jersey. And that's what makes it such a cool story for me, is he was overlooked by the team that he was at, and the Knicks saw something. The Knicks brought him over here and said, "We believe you can be this elite player." And even when half the Knicks fan base, when he was signed, did not believe in him, he came through to be that guy. And when you look at it, we say all the time, we wish that we would have put the right players around Melo for most of his time. Like, because a lot of the players that we had around him were good, but they were at the end of their careers. They were injured. They were this, they were that. So he was pulling that stuff off, being that guy, being the scorer for the Knicks. Like, that's what he had to do. Jalen Brunson is being that guy with other scorers on the Knicks. Like, and so he's able to do that with other people taking some of that scoring responsibility, and yet he's still putting up those kind of numbers. That makes it super, super impressive that he doesn't have to be the only guy to score, and yet he's still scoring enough to reach that category. So you got to give the man praises where it's due. I'm extremely ecstatic that he's part of our squad, and I really believe that he is showing that he is a 1A player. Like, anyone who says he's not a top 15 player in the league right now
They don't know basketball.
doesn't watch basketball. They watch highlights. They watch ESPN highlights. They watch Stephen A. Smith highlights. They don't watch. You don't get League Pass and realize how wrong you are. He is a top 15 player. Bottom line.
I cannot comment on the last part.
When you did that, I started dying. Go ahead.
I'm not allowed to talk about that. I don't want to get in trouble. But to me, let me just say a couple points. One, I hated those Villanova teams with Brunson. I was at that sitting where you guys are gonna be, that Pepsi whatever up top. We had a suite for free. I got free tickets to that when they went to overtime versus Providence, and I was rooting for Providence to beat that Villanova team. And Brunson won his the Big East tournament. I hated those teams. Two, when they signed Jalen Brunson, I'd admit it. I'm not like the rest of these people. I said, what the fuck? Like, I said the same thing. I'm like, this is who we giving this money to? And I'm glad there was egg on my face for that one. Okay. As far as between Melo and Brunson, I love Jalen Brunson, and Carmelo Anthony's a fellow Boricua as well, but I love Jalen Brunson. Carmelo Anthony did it to himself in terms of the team. If he would have just been patient and waited and signed with the team, we would have had the deepest team in the league. Look what Jalen Brunson has now, the deepest team in the league. So I think Jalen Brunson's perfect for this team. He's not a me guy. This team there's no divas on this team, and he's the leader of this team. I'm happy he's the leader of this team. I was mad at Tibbs with 2 minutes left, still having in the game, down 15, which made no sense coming away from a sprained ankle. That's one time I will kill Tibbs for leaving the guys late in the game. He should have been out of the game. But Jalen Brunson leading this team, they're in fucking perfect hands. And listen, this offseason, if it's DeJounte Murray yet, I will be disappointed because I want a bigger name. So we need one of these teams with superstars on the team in the playoffs to get knocked out early and get upset. So they say, you know what? I want out of here. Trade me. Hello, Knicks are right there.
Well,
yeah, I got two super chats. Eddie, I'll throw it over to you. Thank you, Jeep the Best, with the $5 super chat. Need Morris experience and toughness. I'll save that one for after we go around. We'll come back to this question. And then also CM with the $4 super chat. Where is Nerlens Noels? Appreciate you guys for the super chat. Go ahead, Eddie.
I'll say this about Brunson.
Salute. Bless you.
And this
Salute.
might be a little bit of a hot take. I think Brunson's better than Melo. I think he's better. And the reason why I say that is because he's in a better situation. Like Al just said, we had to basically sell our souls to the devil to get, Carmelo Anthony here. We didn't really do that with Brunson. We just signed him straight up in free agency.
And his pops.
And his pops. Exactly.
And his pops.
But I will say this. I did talk to Ian Begley on Saturday night, Al, and he said the top two guys that the Knicks are targeting are, number one, the first person they're targeting, you guys might not like this, is Karl Anthony Towns. He's tops on their list. But the second guy they're targeting is Donovan Mitchell. And it's in that order. It's Cat and
I'll stay. Listen, when it comes to Karl Anthony Towns, I think he's an amazing talent in the NBA. He went through some hard times during COVID, so many different family members. I wish him the best. It's not a negative slight when it comes to Karl Anthony Towns. But when you look at, since Julius Randle has been here and the production that Julius Randle has given us to what Karl Anthony Towns has given the Minnesota Twins, I'm taking Julius Randle every day of the week over Karl Anthony Towns. Your best ability is availability, and Julius Randle has been on the court more than Karl Anthony Towns in that same time frame. Sign me up for Julius Randle. So again, I'm not trying to throw any shade on Cat. Juju's my guy.
You know how there's those things like tell me you're a whatever without telling me you're a whatever. Like, tell me you are a content creator that does baseball and basketball, because you just said Karl Anthony Towns has done more for the Minnesota Twins.
Yep.
No. I said Julius Randle has done.
No.
No,
Minnesota
but you said
Twins.
Karl Anthony
Twins.
Towns
Oh.
more than Minnesota
Minnesota-
Twins. You said
Yes,
Randall's done more for the Knicks than Karl Anthony Towns has done for the Twins.
Checking
I'm
the
sorry.
replay. It's true, Hector. Checking the replay and challenge
right.
accepted. Challenge accepted.
That's why as soon as I said, tell me you're whatever, Al was like, yep. He knew where I was going with that.
I had no idea that's
Yeah, you were flowing. I didn't want to interrupt your flow.
But I agree with you, man. Like, I've always liked Karl Anthony Towns, and he's overcome a lot. But at the end of the day, there's not enough that I have seen that makes me say trade a guy who has been all NBA last 2 years, or he would have been, I think, this year if it wasn't for the injury. But he's been an all-star level talent, and trade him after he has done what he's done for New York before New York was cool to come to, for a guy that isn't leaps and bounds better, and trade him for Karl Anthony Towns. Like, if you're going to trade a Julius Randle, like, I want you to bring somebody that makes me go, that was inevitable. Like, they had to trade Julius Randle. Don't just trade Julius Randle for someone who I would put on that same tier as Julius Randle and tell me that you're upgrading. Like, that's not a super size. A super size, you pay that 35 cents, you see the difference between a large and a super size fry. You see the difference. I want to see that difference if we're going to make that change. I don't see that there. So I wouldn't personally do it. Wish Karl Anthony Towns the best. Obviously, if he comes, I'm going to root for him because he's a Knick. But that's not what I personally want to see happen.
Wait, Eddie, hold on. You put out a tweet, Eddie, and I thought you were going to say this. Who was the person that said Luka? I thought that's where you were going.
We got towards that at the end.
Yeah.
So at the end of the interview, we said, what other names will be available this summer? Who could possibly
let the people in the chat know that don't know what you're talking about. Who you interview, who you had on the pod. Go ahead.
Deej and I, King Deej at King Deej on Twitter. We do a Knicks Spaces called Nick at Night. It's a Knicks Twitter space, and we had Ian Begley on Saturday night, and we interviewed him. All the fans came up, asked him a ton of questions, and I was grilling him. Ian Begley, if you don't know, he's like one of the best reporters, going. He's not biased. He's not a homer. And, I was bringing up names. I asked him about Mikal Bridges, and he basically said that's a pipe dream. It's never happening. I asked him about, I said, who else would be available? He listed Cat as their number one target. The front office loves Cat. For whatever reason, they love him. To make that trade, it's Randle and Josh Hart to make the money work.
But that's because Tibbs coached him. That has to be Tibbs saying that. That's definitely Tibbs. Yeah.
It goes back to Tibbs, and it goes back to Leon Rose's connections with Karl Anthony Towns. When Karl Anthony Towns was a rookie, he was connected with, and Leon Rose was his agent. I'm not sure. I think Karl Anthony Towns is still down with CAA to this day.
He is. One of the reasons I think they like Cat, I think why we keep hearing his name, because I think that if they trade him, I don't think they're going to give up any draft picks to get him. Minnesota's looking to get off of that contract, because if you look into it, they're talk about a broke network. They're a broke team, and they are. Look,
surprise! A-Rod's with them.
They're in big trouble. They're going to be over that second apron, so they're screwed. So I think that's a reason. Let's see what happens with Randle in the playoffs. But if Randle has a bad playoffs, they're gonna trade for Cat, and they're not gonna give any picks. The second guy, obviously, that came up is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell makes sense because he's on the last year of his contract, and Donovan Mitchell could tell people where he wants to go, and he could hold them hostage, right? So the last thing we got into was the whole Luka thing. And, what Ian Begley said was not only just from what he heard, but around the entire NBA, the little rumor is that if they don't do well this year in the playoffs, Luka is going to ask out. So the only thing that with that is Luka is signed till 2027. So he doesn't have any leverage. It's not like Donovan Mitchell, who was on the last year of his deal and basically could give 5 teams of where he wants to go. Luka's going to go to the highest bidder. So if OKC wants to give up, 12 draft picks, OKC's going to get Luka because he's got four more years left on his deal. So that's where the Luka stuff came out. So
I saw that tweet, and the funny thing is, I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago as targets, and somebody said, I forgot what my producer was. They were like, "No, I don't want him." And the reason I said Lucas because familiarity with Brunson. They've done it before. He's played off the ball with Brunson before and Luka. So that, and you get a guy who's not even entering his prime yet. And lately, he's been playing much better defense. If you've been watching the games, his defensive effort has been much better than it has throughout his entire career.
I noticed that. No, go ahead. I'll finish cooking.
So you've noticed that as well. So and he even talked about it after the game versus I think it was OKC. They were like, "Damn, Luka's been playing much better defense lately." It's not. I mean, he sucked defensively, so any effort is good effort. But if he's given half effort on defense, that's an upgrade from what he's been doing his whole career. So if you're telling me if I had to choose between those three, I'm taking Luka before I take any of those guys. And I don't care how many draft picks it takes because let's face it, this draft is not deep. And these guys in college right now, it's not what it used to be. It just isn't. There's no, wow, this guy's the number one pick. It's usually a foreign player that's going to be the number one pick. So if we got to give up these draft picks to get Luka here, who we know what he is, I'm in. Let's go.
And according to the rumors, the executives around the league, when they're looking at this draft, they look at this draft as a very weak draft. Because if you guys remember, last year's draft was the first time a long time that players could done the G League Elite, the one stop, and then go to the NBA. So you have that year of just like, it's 1 year is going to be a real miss because a lot of the players didn't have to wait that second year. They were able to how could I say, move their draft status up the year before. So this draft 2024, it may be a barren wasteland when it comes to that draft. So I don't mind giving up the draft pick for this year. And let's be honest, Tom Thibodeau, he don't play no rookies. So he ain't out there trying to play no kid that was selected in the 20 spots.
Here's the thing. You can make an argument of drafting. I love drafting like I do. However, if you have an opportunity to trade for a generational talent while still having an elite top 15 player like Jalen Brunson on your team, you stop worrying about draft capital. Like, you just do. Like, you would then have a generational talent in Luka Doncic for the next 4 years, plus Jalen Brunson for an additional 3 years. Like, that is an opportunity to build on something. That's an opportunity to take your franchise to the next level. And if you would have told me, like, Luka Doncic even a year and a half ago, I really wouldn't have wanted to do it because even though he was a generational talent, he was a very stingy player. Like, he was a very Luka Doncic-centered player. He was. But now he is still elite. He's generational, and he's averaging almost 10 assists per game. There's not many generational talents that, since LeBron, that average that kind of assist ratio. Like, yes, you have Halliburton, but that's his whole thing. You know, he's a pass first and then shooting kind of guy. Luka's a shoot first and still averaging about 10 assists per game. So I think this version of Luka Doncic would fit perfectly into what we're doing, and he would definitely be my number one. Like, definitely above Cat, above McHale, above friggin' Spider, because as much as I like Spider, I still don't see how that necessarily fits with what we're doing. But Luka, perfect fit.
And he's he's a bully. He's a big body. He's not somebody you're going to be able to push around. And he's never had the talent that he would have on his team. He wouldn't have to have the whole load on his shoulders. So, because in Dallas, bro, if you think if Tibbs was coaching Dallas, he'd be getting killed because Luka he's doing everything over there. Every single thing. Kyrie is not available as much, and that team's not as talented as the team he would have here. As far as I heard you mention Jalen Brunson, top 15, right? I wanted to touch on that because that pissed me off seeing Kenny Smith, a fellow New Yorker, saying what he said about Jalen Brunson. And I talked about it on the radio. I said, if Boston plays the Knicks, who's the second best player in the floor? Jalen Brunson. If the Knicks play Cleveland, who's the best player in the floor? Jalen Brunson. The Knicks play the Heat, who's the best player on the floor? Jalen Brunson. If the Knicks play the Bucks, who's the second best player on the floor? Jalen Brunson. I will take my chances that way. This shitting on Jalen Brunson, he's not the best player in this, he's not the second best or the third best. It's a joke. He's a top. If they finish 2 seed or 3, he better be a top 5 MVP. He better finish in the top 5. If Isaiah Thomas, I know they had the best record in Boston, won an MVP. Didn't he win MVP, right? Isaiah Thomas? Then
No,
how
I
was
think
Jalen Brunson?
He didn't win that year.
He didn't win. He came second. He almost
Second.
won.
Okay. If he finished second, Jalen Brunson should definitely finish in the top 5 in MVP this year with what he's doing here in New York.
No, I'm right there with you, Alan. I've been saying it all season. You look at what MVP stands for, most valuable player. You take Jalen Brunson away from this team. This team is not even a playing team. You take
this team's the team that was after that lost to the Hawks. They're that team again.
You take Jason Tatum away from the Boston Celtics. They're still 4 or 5 seed. So that's how valuable Jalen Brunson is to our team. But I wanted to move the topic real quick.
Wait, to TOL's point, because I want to make sure we always check stats. So he did not win MVP during the Jordan era of like the late 89s and 90s.
I'm talking about Isaiah Thomas from the Celtics.
Okay. I was going to say that Isaiah Thomas did win too, though. But
no. We're talking about a different Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, I was like, he definitely won too early.
I wanted to bring up real quick, and folks in the chat, appreciate you guys tuning into the conversation. We are sitting on 88 likes right now on the stream, but when it comes to Bojan, let's talk about after the trade. Let's talk about the game. Bojan, what was your takeaway? NBA New York on Twitter put it out there. I think that what all European players dream to play in the Garden. Once being able to be a part of the Knicks is really special for me. The building was on fire the whole game. I really appreciate the love and support they show me. This was Bojan with Rebecca Harlow on his game at Madison Square Garden. So I'll throw it over to you, Eddie, to give us your take when it comes to Bojan. Folks in the chat, give us your takeaway when it comes to the, what is this? He's Serbian? Yeah, the Serbian assassin.
Shout out to the Whites. That's my take on Bojan.
Motherfucker's wilding out, bro.
No, honestly, for real though, watching him, I was impressed. I like how, I thought he was just going to be like a spot-up 3-point guy. But the fact that I saw him take it to the basket and that he could shoot over players. Shout out to Bojan. Shout out to the Whites. There we go. That's my thing.
Eddie, I can't. You're fucking hilarious. You're hilarious.
Get water. I gotta get water.
Yeah, I'm saying. I didn't want to say that. Thank you, CT Pittman. I didn't want to say that, Eddie. You keep saying that during Black History Month. That is just wild right now. We got 185 people in the building. Smack the like button. Thank you, CT Pittman. I was waiting for
gosh.
that up.
Wait, out of all the months to say that, you choose this month, bro.
Yeah,
you choose
this month. Julian Blum with the tomato. Tomato. Okay,
wow.
Go ahead, Philip.
Yeah. Kind of made me have a loss for words for a second there. Yeah, so I'm not gonna shout it out to the Whites. I'm just gonna shout it out to good basketball. One thing I like about him is he said it in a pregame interview. He was talking about like coming to the Knicks and everything like that. And one thing he said is, I'm excited to play for a coach like Tibbs because he's a like hard work first kind of guy. And that's how European basketball is. Like, that's what we're used to in European basketball, is that, like, play with everything, grit, give everything you got, play hard, play long games. And so he's used to it, so that is actually refreshing to hear a player that's not intimidated by what he's walking into. But also seeing the fan base stand up for him, like whether he made the shot or not, everyone was like, woo! When he would take those shots, like there was support there behind him. And I think he's going to be a good fit. I think once he's actually playing his role and not having to like play a role that fits what's going on right now with our injuries, I feel like he's going to be a very, very detrimental, a very, very huge contribution to us moving forward in the playoffs. I think he's really going to help out. And I think it's a perfect fit in my honest opinion. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that comment flustered everybody. You're not the only one, Phil. Don't worry about it. But as I knew Bojan, I confuse both of them when I do Twitter.
The bogey.
I'll just say Bogdanovic. We bet we good that one.
Yep.
And they're both white, so I can't even say the white one. That I knew that he can create off the dribble because when you gamble on people, you watch these guys, much more closely. I knew he can create off the dribble a little something. Every time he shoots the ball, you think it's going in. He's got the heart. He plays with aggression. He's not scared. Listen, these European players, you see the atmospheres they playing over there? There's fires in the damn stands, bro. So this is nothing to them. That's when Maluka made his comments how the NBA is easier, the leagues he's played in, the situations he's been in. He's right. But I love the pickup. I mentioned it a month and a half ago on the air that I thought he would be a solid pickup for the team. Somebody brought up his age. I'm like, I don't care about that. We trying to win. The guy's a 20-point scorer. Off the bench, he's going to give you that firepower that Quentin Grimes just couldn't give you on a consistent basis. And you said about Randle earlier, availability is key. He's available, Bogdanovic. Quentin Grimes is hit or miss. If he's got a knee scrape from wiping the floors, he's out for 3 weeks. If he stubs his toe at 3 a.m, he's out for a month. He's not the guy in this team. He doesn't have that Tibbs toughness. Tibbs wants toughness guys. Whether you're white, Eddie, or black, it doesn't matter. These Tibbs just want his guys. And I think right now that he has his team, listen, this team is going to be so scary in the playoffs if close to 100%, bro. I cannot wait.
Go ahead, Eddie.
I was just going to say, he's probably going to be our sixth man when everybody gets healthy. Mm-hmm. That's insane to have this guy, a 20-point scorer, plus 40% from the three as our sixth man. This is awesome. This is incredible. Yeah. He's better than IQ. It's going to be great when everybody's healthy.
They're going to have him and Burks come in together because they have a chemistry as well. So they'll come in together in the games.
They could both hit threes.
I was gonna say that, and I want to knock on wood real quick, right? Because I want this team to be healthy. The one thing I do not want to happen, the one scenario, I don't want us as Knicks fans, if they can't all get healthy, for us to be like, oh, imagine if they all got healthy. Imagine if we would have all stayed healthy. I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna knock on wood anytime that health conversation gets brought up. But when you look at both Bojan and Alec Burks, 20 points coming back as a New York Knicks. How you doing, Alec Burke? Welcome. Nice to see you back in the Garden. But when it comes to Bojan, like Eddie brought up earlier and Phil brought up earlier, I thought Bojan was just a 3-point specialist, a sniper who just parks himself on the 3-point. No, this is not Steve Novak. He could take the ball off the dribble. He could drive to the lane. He could do the under and up to get to the foul line. So when it comes to Bojan, even at his age, 34 years old, he is a solid clutch performer. The one thing he brought up was he's 35 or 34.
I think he's 35. I heard them say it on the air. Maybe I'm wrong. 35, yeah.
Yeah. Even so, 34, 35. 35 is the new 20. How about that? But when it comes, he brought it up in his press conference with the reporters that in his career, he's only missed the postseason once. This is the guy who's used to the grind of the postseason, and that is the perfect guy to have coming off the bench as a 20-point scorer, as a guy that's shooting over 40% from the 3-point line. So I'm super excited to see it. And everybody knocking on the door. The New York Knicks are here. Watch the fuck out, baby.
So watch his Utah tape. In Utah, when he was in the playoffs, in Utah, he took the ball to the basket a lot. So that's how I knew about his game. Wasn't just shooting. Sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So some concerns that I do see in the chat, which does kind of make a little bit of sense, is thinking about like the style of the players. The only question would be, we did get a little bit slower off the bench, like with these trades, because as much as I like Bojan and as much as I like Burks, they are slower paced players. They are. So teams like Indiana are going to continue that fast pace. So if we create schemes that can slow them down, that's going to be to our benefit. And that's going to be on Tibbs as the defensive coach to make sure that we figure out a way to stop those faster paced guys, because I do believe all around player, Bojan is a better player. But the speed of IQ was definitely something that helped us off of the bench, both offensively and defensively.
But we did with Bojan, we did get taller. And one thing I noticed about Bojan is there could be a big guy covering him, and he could shoot right over him.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was something I took
For
away.
sure.
And
For
that's
sure.
going to be a good thing to have when we go against the teams like the
Yeah.
Bucks and the Celtics that are the taller teams. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be an asset, a big asset.
For sure.
And coming as I see what you're saying, Phil, but I think coming off the bench, you could kind of hide that. When it comes to both Bojan and Alec Burks, if we had to rely on them to be starters, yeah, that would stick out like a sore thumb. But having them come off of the bench, if you're able to have them out there on the court with an OG Anunoby, who was an amazing defender, I think we'll be able to hide their lapses. And if they have Mitchell Robinson coming off of the bench with them, yeah, you don't have to worry about that bench unit and their defense if we have Mitch Robinson coming off with them.
And Bogey's like defensive metrics, like the advanced stat analytics. When he was in Utah, like he was a pretty good defensive player. So hopefully that translates, here now that he's in a more defensive driven system. Obviously he was in Detroit. He probably didn't care. When you're losing 30 games in a row, I'd stop playing defense. So I don't blame him.
Facts.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you, Eddie.
The thing you said in the playoffs, though, the pace slows down. In the playoffs, the pace slows down, which will work to the Knicks' advantage. He's not going to be playing 30, 35 minutes on his team. He's going to be he's going to be that guy that comes off the bench, provide that scoring punch. The thing the Knicks did is now they can hang with these teams when it comes to scoring. Before it was you didn't get any punch off the bench. Now you have that punch off the bench. A guy that can shoot the 3 or 40%, a guy that stretches the floor. You put him, DiVincenzo, and OG Anunoby. If they're on the floor together with Brunson and then the center, you know how that floor is going to be so spaced out when Randle's getting his breather. Listen, the Knicks are going to be a tough out. Let's hope they're not out. But this team is stacked. I love what I see. I love the trades. I love what's going on. I'm just going to enjoy this ride. I said as long as the team, you said something about the health. That's why I said close to 100%. No team is really 100% going into the playoffs. I just want to have our guys. Randle hasn't had that guy when he's hurt that can, take up the slack for him. We will have that when because he's not going to be 100%. We will have somebody to pick up the scoring slack.
Yeah, no, I agree when it comes to that. I want to bring something up real quick. Two things. One, let's talk about former Knick Theo Pinson. I know we brought this up just a little bit, but we didn't touch on it. But Theo Pinson, according to the Knicks Muse, thank you, Knicks Muse. But this is what he said. I believe in the Knicks. They got two guys who don't give an F. They got Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. They're going to come at you. Second, you got a bunch of dogs around them. And this was according to former Knick Theo Pinson. And like Al said, he's right. Theo Pinson's right. We got a bunch of dogs on this team. And when we are all healthy, knock on wood, when we get all healthy, it's just going to be crazy to see this team in the postseason. Like I said, when I called into your show, Al, going forward, us as a fan base, it's cute, February 12th, where we're at right now. But we're going to start judging this team on what we do in the postseason going forward. These last couple of years, it was awesome building this new culture in Madison Square Garden, this new culture in New York City when it comes to the New York Knicks. We've gotten here. Now it's up to Tom Thibodeau and it's up to Leon Rose to bring us to that next level. So going forward, you will be judged. Every move going forward will be judged on what happens in the postseason and building your team, not for the regular season, but for the postseason.
Yeah.
See, they're taking steps. Sorry, Phil. They made against the Hawks, right? They made the playoffs. Then they took a huge step back the next year. Now they advanced to the semifinals. This year is conference finals, or it was a disappointment. Next year, I put my money where my mouth is. I said it on the airwaves. The Knicks will be a championship contender next year. Next year, championship contender. If they make the conference finals this year, guess what? They're going to be one of the favorites, if not the favorite out of the East to make the finals. So we've taken the steps necessary. We have to make the conference finals to keep advancing, to show these other players that, hey, you see what we're doing here? You want to be a part of this, or you want to stay where you're at?
Yeah, and so a few things I want to address in the chat. Love our chat. One thing that I saw was, Parrish Duggar was talking about Grimes, and you still got to give Grimes his due. And I agree. Grimes was one of our best defenders when it came to locking down the other team's best player. And that's one thing that I really feel like we're gonna miss. Because even if Bojan is a good defender, he's not a Grimes defender. The only problem is you saw that with the trade for OG and getting rid of IQ off the bench and RJ playing with that bench unit, we suffered most as a team with offense off the bench. And so that's one reason that we did have to make that trade to get Bojan and Burks, not because Grimes isn't one of the best, up and down defenders that we had, but because our big deficiency was in scoring off the bench, and Grimes would have 19 or 20-point nights, but then he would have 2 or 4-point nights right after that. And that's not something that we could bank on going into the playoffs. So I hope he thrives there. I feel like him partnering with guys like Cade Cunningham, I feel like those guys are going to be able to grow and get better together as young players. And I want to see that for Grimes. So no shade towards Grimes in talking about Burks and talking about Bogdanovic. That's not taking away anything from Burks. And then second, to Ally Wise and Corey, if you guys don't believe that Bojan is a sixth man off this bench, who do you guys personally see as that sixth man, Corey and Ally? Like, who do you believe with the roster that we have? Because I'm not trying to fight. I'm honestly just curious to who you guys think is that sixth man off the bench, if it's not who we just traded for to be our scorer off the bench. I want to know your guys' thoughts, because then we can kind of have conversations about it. So let's chat.
I don't think that we, especially with the acquisition of both, that we need to necessarily just give one person the title and say, like, you're our sixth man, go out there and get us buckets off the bench. I think it could be a combination of both Burks and Bojan, and whoever, Josh Hart as well coming off the bench, Precious coming off the bench. So it could be a combination of all of them, because let's be real, the second unit will be more of a team focused unit instead of an individual ISO unit. I know Burks is an ISO scorer, Bojan's an ISO scorer, but it needs to be more of a team focus when it comes to that. There was one comment that I wanted to bring up from the chat, and it's from CT Pittman, and he brings up a great point. He says, if we don't make it to the conference finals, does Tom Thibodeau become the fall guy? And for me, I got two answers to that. One, if Julius Randle has a bad performance in the postseason, Julius Randle will be the fall guy no matter what. And the second one, if Julius Randle has an amazing postseason and Jalen Brunson has an amazing postseason and we fall short, maybe Tom Thibodeau becomes the fall guy, but that's a big maybe. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And we got a super chat from the Art Man. I'll bring it up in a second. I forgot to bring it up early, but I'll throw it over to you, Eddie, to get your take on CT Pittman, and then throw it over to Al and then Phil.
So one of the questions I asked Ian Begley was, is Leon Rose and Tibbs going to get extensions? He said Leon Rose definitely. He said Tom Thibodeau, maybe he deserves it, but let's see what happens in the playoffs. Basically, that's what he said. So I think it really comes down to what happens in this playoffs. I think if the Knicks disappoint, I think Tibbs is probably going to be the fall guy, Hector. I think you're right. But if the Knicks exceed expectations, I think Tibbs is going to be back here. I think if he gets to the conference finals, he's a lock to come back. I even think if they take it to a game 7 versus Milwaukee in round 2, I think Tibbs comes back, because let's be honest, who was our last coach to win, be this good for this long? I mean, we have to go back to Jeff Van Gundy. Al, you put the record of the coaches all the time on when you're on the air. You could give us that record. It's the
585 and 922, and during that time from 02 to 2020, seven playoff wins. Tibbs has seven playoff wins by himself.
God.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Even though Tibbs isn't perfect, he's perfect for this team this year, right now.
Yeah, I don't think. Listen, Tibbs ain't going nowhere. The team loves him. The players love him. Again, nobody complains. They say, whatever he needs from me, we do. You don't hear anything. Usually on a team, if they don't like the coach, you hear shit. Obi was complaining in the locker room during the playoffs. He's gone. Grimes was complaining about minutes. He's gone. IQ wanted to start. He's gone. RJ Barrett, we had to get off his contract. That was the only reason that trade had to happen. So when Knicks fans were crying about that trade, you got to look bigger picture. Getting rid of RJ gave this team more flexibility. Yeah, Tom Thibodeau is going to be the coach of this team for this season, next season, and then because if they get the superstar and they fail, then if they get the other superstar Brunson and they fail, then he'll be the fall guy. I don't think he's going to be the fall guy this year, and you can look back to some of the injuries during the season we have to lean on. This team plays for him. They play for him, and in this NBA, we have a bunch of crybaby bitches. not corner bitches, crybaby bitches that complain about everything. Oh, I practice too much. Oh, you're playing me too many minutes. Oh, I need load management. You don't hear that from this team. Not one player does that. And so that's why I want Tibbs. I was not always a Tibbs guy, but seeing the way the players rally around him, I don't want him going anywhere. I give him this year and next year, and then we'll go from there.
So I'm the guy
ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Cody's Crybabies. But shout out to my guy, the art man, formerly known as Steve, with the $9.99 super chat, helping me with my hooked on phonics, so I know the difference between Minnesota and the Minnesota Twins and the Minnesota Timberwolves. But thank you, art man. Morning. Knicks basically have a brand new team. Got to give them 3 to 5 games just to get comfortable with each other. Then when Randle and them come back, got to give them another adjustment period. Thank you to Art Man, formerly known as Steve, for the $9.99 super chat. And again, if you guys didn't see it on the last episode, Art Man has some amazing work that we will be collabing with him in the future. But no, I agree with him, especially when it comes to this adjustment period. We know that players, they're not going to just automatically know how to play with each other. It's going to take some adjustment time when the guys come back from injury. Even OG, Randle, and Mitchell Robinson, they've played with these guys, but even them, they need a little bit of time to readjust coming back to the court, coming back off.
It's a brand new team. It's a brand new team, so we got to give them 10. Real quick. You
know, I want to talk about Tibbs real quick and then address something that Corey just said. So you guys know that last season I actually lost my Twitter because of the amount of fire Tibbs, like things that I posted on Twitter.
Wait, really? That happened?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's
Hector
crazy.
Definitely knows. Hector definitely knows.
I don't know. I'm new to this, so what the hell happened?
Yeah,
he was all last year. He was just saying fire Tibbs, fire Tibbs,
fire Tibbs on everything. Like all of my hashtags had fire Tibbs. Like I was livid with the guy. For that? Well, oh yeah, I got banned. Yep,
just for that.
And I appealed it like 8 times, and they continued to like leave my account, so I had to start completely over on Twitter. Sucked.
Damn.
But what I will say is, the Tibbs that I was displeased with and wanted out the door then is not the same Tibbs that I see coaching the New York Knicks right now. There are so many things that I said, if Coach Tibbs did this, I would have no reason to have an issue with Coach Tibbs. And what has he done? He's done those things. I've talked about how he is not a coach that can adjust. He has had 2 roster changes, multiple players gone, and he's continued to be able to adjust and make this team look like what this team currently is. So I can't throw shade at Tibbs anymore the way that I did before. Do I think that, you know, for the next 10 years he's the guy? No, not at all. Like, eventually something's got to happen, but I'm going to let him ride it out. You know, the only way that I would say he's got to go is if something happens and we completely blow it and we wind up being a play-in tournament team somehow, some way this season, which I do not see happening whatsoever. But to Corey and Ella, who are talking about, you know, 6th man, it would be Josh Hart. I understand that, but if I'm looking at just the first game with Bojan, Josh Hart started and played 36 minutes. Bojan, in his first game with the Knicks off the bench, played 33 minutes. There was a 3-minute difference between the 2 players. One was our starter, one came off the bench. So Tibbs is already playing the guy in his first game 33 minutes. So if you look at it, you know, like a 6th man, by definition, is supposed to be someone that, you know, like often the first player, you know, that you look to coming off the bench. And as much as I like Josh Hart and he's got those glue, you know, things, he's also not reliable when it comes to us getting buckets at all, which is something that our bench needs really, really badly. And I feel like we just signed 2 guys that are way more guaranteed buckets than he is. So unless these guys come in and decide we're not playing any defense whatsoever, I would have a hard time Josh Hart being that next man up when he's not contributing next man up numbers that we need to win.
Yeah, I noticed that Bojan closed out the game. You know, in his first game, he closed the game. Tibbs had him closing the game. That's very telling.
I just want to real quick. We got over 190 people in the building rocking with us right now. If you're watching us on Instagram, Facebook, or any other social media platform, click the link in the bio. Jump on over to YouTube. We got over 180 people rocking with us on YouTube. We are at 3,483 subscribers. We are 17 away from 3,500. So if you guys can help us out, because what are we, Eddie? Eddie, let the people know. What are we?
Broke and poor and pathetic network. All right.
Yes, we are. Eddie still hasn't cast his social security check. We are sitting at 103 likes. So if you guys can, please smack that like button. We appreciate all of the support from everybody.
Why can't you just say we're a poor but up and coming network? That's so much better.
Up and coming network.
Pathetic, Al. That's it.
No, I don't know about the pathetic. We're up.
Yeah, I don't know about that, and that takes away the contributions of guys like CT Pittman that are trying to make sure that we are up and coming and not just staying bottom tier. So we can't say, you could say, hey, I'm pathetic, give me money, but don't throw us all in there, bro. Don't throw us all in there.
I'm just trying to raise awareness. People don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I do. I know what's going on.
I'll say this, because there's 3 Hispanics right here, right now. So when it comes to the broke and pathetic channel, shout out to the whites. Shout out to the whites.
You're stupid. David Rios, thank you for the 2 super chats, $1.99 each. He said Tibbs changed the culture of the Knicks when it comes to 90s D. Absolutely spot on, right on point. But no, when it comes to the second unit, I gotta agree with what everybody has said so far. The potential for the second unit is beyond what anybody thought. Al, you brought up who we gave up. And at the beginning of the season, I said it when Bill Peter was on the episode on Friday. At the beginning of the season, if you would have told me that we would have traded R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly in the summertime, trade Obi Toppin, also trade Quentin Grimes at the trade deadline, and this was going to be the team that we had, I would have said, nah, the front office is not going to do that. They're not going to give up this young talent. But the front office, they recognize what works and they recognize what don't work. Leon Rose, when was the last time the New York Knicks had someone who could finish as the executive of the year? Normally, after 2 or 3 years, we're firing our president and finding a new bozo to go in there to ruin our cap space for the next 2 or 3 years. Shout out to Leon Rose. If there's anybody who needs a shout out, it's shout out to Leon Rose, Eddie. No one else but him.
I gave him his flowers on the air. The media, which I'm now a part of, but the media kills Leon Rose. He doesn't talk. I don't care if the motherfucker's mute. What he's doing in that kitchen is cooking. He's pulling shit out of his ass that no one saw coming. Just go look. Trading for Josh Hart, signing Hartenstein, trading for Chua, OG Anunoby, Bogdanovic, Alec Burke. Look what he's done. He's cooked. He's flipped this roster, made it even better. This team was in cap hell for how long? It's so much harder to fix a team when you're in cap hell than in baseball, where you could spend. I compared the Mets in my opening. You can go check it out. I compared the Mets. Our Met fans should let David Stearns cook the same way we let Leon Rose cook, because it's worked. As far as the bench goes, 6-man, I don't think you're going to see these guys coming in by themselves. Like I said, I think Burks comes in with Bogdanovic, the pair. Josh Hart will come in with Precious, pair. They'll start pairing them up to see what's working, what's not working, keep the chemistry, what chemistry is not working. And the playoffs, unfortunately, the benches usually get cut down. Riley did it with his teams. Van Gundy did it with his teams. But I think Tibbs would not have to cut down the minutes so much and just wear teams out in a 7-game series that don't have the bench and the depth that the Knicks have.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Go ahead, Eddie.
No, the best thing about Leon Rose is that he's made all these moves, and yet he could still make another 2 moves if he needs to. We have all our first-round picks. Again, I always say the currency in the NBA is first-round picks. If you have all your first-round picks, you are always in play for another upgrade, for another superstar. And that's what we are right now. We're still in that position where we could talk about getting a Spider this summer. We could dream about getting Luka this summer or next year. As long as we have those picks, we always have that ability to take that next step and get into that next level. So I love what Leon Rose is doing here. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, you got to look at it. We can't say that like we have one of the deepest rosters in the NBA and not give Leon Rose credit for the fact that he has done that without surrendering first-round draft picks. Like, that's insane. That is insane to say that we still have Randle, all-star, all-NBA. We still have Brunson, all-star, definitely should be all-NBA, should definitely be MVP candidate. We got OG Anunoby that should be, if he comes back healthy enough to play enough games, defensive player of the year. Isaiah Hartenstein, who should be him or Dante in the contention for most improved players of the year. Like, you can't look at our starting lineup and not say, dang, Leon Rose did that without giving up first-round draft picks, and then look at our bench and say, oh, we got 2 20-point scorers and didn't give up, a first-round draft pick. Oh, we're going to get Mitchell Robinson back, and we have him on a low contract. And, we have all this stuff and still can make major moves over the summer. Regardless of whether you like the guy or not, you have to say, holy crap, he's done his job. Like, we went from going, oh, my goodness, this guy's sleeping behind the wheel, to go, holy crap, he was actually just a sleeping lion. Because a sleeping lion, as soon as they wake up, you're food. Like, and that's what he did. He said, y'all thought I was lying. I was just sleeping. I was just laying here waiting for my food. And now everyone's going to get devoured. So Leon Rose, you got to tip your hat off to him. He's done a great job.
He set the team up for short-term success and long-term success. And I forgot to mention White Dante. That's for you, Eddie. I forgot to mention White Dante. Because remember fans were crying. We traded all we got was 2 second-round picks. Hey, dummies. That gave us the flexibility to sign Dante DiVincenzo.
Yep. No, and that Obi trade exception. When it happened, and then at first you're like, oh, only 2 second-round picks, but then you see we're able to sign Dante for that cheap of a contract for that many years, and you see the output that he's given, the production that Dante DiVincenzo is giving you right now. If he was to go into free agency, he could easily demand anywhere from 18 to 20 million per season. He's getting paid 12.5 to 13 million a season right now for the next 4 years. This man already for this season, he's leading the NBA in 3-pointers made. He is already top 15 or top 10 in the Knicks franchise when it comes to 3-pointers made. If he plays with the Knicks at this level for the next 4 years, this man is going to lead our franchise in 3-pointers. Do you guys not understand the impact that Dante is giving you as a starter? Look at the numbers he's giving you. He's averaging close to 16 points per game, shooting over 40% from the 3-point line.
And this is 2 seasons in a row where we signed these free agents, and they're basically taking us to the next level. I mean, the Brunson signing was like a miracle, and this Dante signing, I thought Dante would be good, but then I think he was going to be this good.
I didn't expect this.
No, I didn't think he was going to be this good.
I didn't expect this out of Dante. To Al's point earlier when he was talking about Jalen Brunson, I didn't expect this out of Jalen Brunson. I'll be lying to you guys and say that, yeah, when it comes to Jalen Brunson, I have a Jalen Brunson highlight reel on my YouTube play watch history. I don't. I'll be lying to you if I was to say that. But when the Knicks did sign Jalen Brunson, I did take that deep dive into his catalog and watch a shit ton of highlights on YouTube, and I was very impressed. But at the time when they signed him, I wasn't impressed about Jalen Brunson. But seeing it on the court last year, and then this year at the beginning of the season, the front office, or what we were told, is that Jalen Brunson still has another gear. We waited for the first month. The first month we didn't see anything. After that RJ trade, he has taken his game to a next level. And talking about most improved player, we got candidates, not just one. We got several on the Knicks. We got Jalen Brunson because he ain't get it last year. We got Dante. We got Isaiah Hartenstein stepping up as a starter and not a bench player like he normally has been. So when you look at this team, we have a lot of trophies that we could get when it comes to the offseason individual awards. But I want to see what this team could do collectively as a whole this season in the postseason.
One of my favorite trends that I'm starting to see on like TikTok and Instagram reels is there's certain people that they go out to thrift stores, and they go to like these small little thrift stores, and they find like a pair of Jordans or a pair of, hiking boots or this, that, and whatever. And they're like, all right, so what you don't realize is this place doesn't really know the worth of this shoe. They're selling it for $10. I can buy this pair of shoes, clean them up, sell them for $55 and make a $45 profit. That is the kind of coach the kind of front office that we have is it's easy for someone to walk in and see a pair of, Jordan 1s and be like, oh, I know that Jordan 1s cost more than that. I'm going to grab that. Or I know the value of a Jordan 1. But finding a pair of hiking boots that most people don't know, and that actually has 5 times the worth of what everybody's walking by and passing it, and you're willing to like take that on, polish it, and get what it's worth. That's what our front office has done with these players. Like even Dante, he's been on 2 championship winning teams and they let him walk. Our front office was like, there's still more there. Like if we do this, if we put him around this, we can bring something else out of him. Isaiah let go by the Clippers. We saw something in him that wound up being even more than we've ever seen from him in any of his other teams. So they continue to bring out something or bring in players that they see that there is more worth and value than everyone else in the league. And that is some genius front office skills. We went from thinking that they were sleeping to holy crap, they were doing research. They were doing the work that needed to be done to make sure that these pieces that they got, that other teams, even us as a fan base, did not think were the right moves to make, and now going, holy crap, they knew the worth of what everyone else was passing by, and now we're reaping the benefits as Knicks fans.
And I want to ask you, my fault, Eddie. I want to ask you real quick. When you look at Leon Rose and you look at pop culture and like movies and TV shows, is there a fictional character that you can compare Leon Rose to? Because I've seen some people with The Godfather, and me personally over the weekend, I'm watching the Sopranos right now. So, Tony Soprano is a figure that comes in mind when it comes to Leon Rose. Is there a character in your mind that you guys, when you guys think of Leon Rose, that pops into your head? Al, Eddie?
Paulie from Goodfellas.
Who?
Paulie from Goodfellas.
Paulie from Goodfellas.
Yeah, the same thing. A mafia boss.
You got me trying to. I'm running through all these fictional. I can't think of one.
I would say either Tony Soprano or, for me, Mr. Smithers, just because of that laugh. That when he made that trade for Alec Burke and for Bojan, he had that little Smithers laugh.
He got rid
Bernstein
of RJ
laugh,
too.
yeah.
By getting rid of RJ, look how that elevated Dante. Getting rid of RJ basically propelled Dante to this next level. Ever since RJ's been gone, and he knew enough to do that. So I give him beyond props for doing what he did.
I think, listen, we can't discount, overlook the fact that DiVincenzo's chemistry with DiVincenzo's chemistry with Josh Hart. You can't put a price on that. Those guys know it. You can close their eyes and know where where they're going to be. That chemistry was the same way I killed myself when I said Brunson, I didn't think he was going to be this good. I'm going to give myself some flowers. When they signed Hartenstein, I knew that was going to be a great move for this team because I watched him play in the Clippers. He was closing out games for Ty Lue when I was betting on Zubac like a dumbass. He was closing out games for the Clippers. He was closing out games, right? Dante DiVincenzo, one of the best shooting guards, rebounding guards, defensive guards in the league. I knew he'd be an upgrade. Everybody looked at losing size in Obi. Man, Obi wasn't that guy. He just wasn't that guy. He had height. It was Fugazi height. It wasn't the 6'10" that rebounds and everything. DiVincenzo was a much better fit for this team. So I'll give myself those flowers for that. Leon Rose, keep cooking. I never criticized them when he doesn't talk to the media. I don't care about that. We've had so many figures in this town, Isaiah Thomas, that did nothing but talk, and nothing got done. Let the man cook and leave him alone.
Yeah. So when it came to the whole talking thing, I agree with you, right? The only thing that I wanted Leon Rose last year to come out, just let us know what the direction of this team is. Let us know your blueprint. Let us know your game plan as a fan.
But why would he want to do? Why would he want to do? Why do?
I agree, because thinking about it now, why would, after seeing the moves that was laid out, that was done, why would he let people know what he wanted to do? Now I agree with you. Now at the time I wanted to hear from him, but I had to realize, take my fandom out of it. It's not about the move you make right there. It's the long plan. And Tom Thibodeau and this front office, they know the long plan. Folks, we got over 200 people in the building. We got 210 rocking with us. If you guys can smack the like button, let's run the likes up. Let's get to 200 likes on the stream.
Yeah.
We are at 3,484 subscribers, 16 away. Someone take the mic. Eddie, go ahead.
Yo, real quick. So a lot of people were in there and they agree with you. They agree with you about Tony Soprano. There's been a lot of people that say he's like the kingpin. One thing based off of what you said that made me go, yeah, that's who Leon Rose is to me. You were talking about the long game. Like that it's not just a lot of those big guys, they make quick moves, especially Kingpin. If Kingpin wants someone dead, it's like instant, like he's going for him. However, for me, Leon Rose is Thomas Shelby of the Peaky Blinders, because when it comes to Thomas Shelby and the Peaky Blinders, there was always a strategic plan of how and when he was going to strike. He didn't just strike as soon as he was furious and should have, and could have gotten all retaliation. Everything was thought out. So for me, Leon Rose is Thomas Shelby.
I was thinking the Joker from the original Batman.
Eddie, just to let you know, the Peaky Blinders is a TV show that's based on the 1920s. It's a biography about your lifetime when you grew up during the Great Depression. That's what it is, Eddie. Go ahead.
It's about the whites. You would love it. It's about the most dangerous whites. It's your show, bro. It's made for you.
I never heard of it. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Peaky Blinders.
Shout out to the whites, the Peaky Blinders.
No, shout out to the whites.
It's like I was gonna come back up here to organize. All right. Real quick, I'm gonna do this real quick. We've got a couple entries already. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 6 people entered so far today. We're gonna do a Knicks Morning Brew mug giveaway with a duck race. So we'll keep it open a couple more minutes. Any super chats, buy me a coffees, all that good stuff.
That's right. So make sure you guys enter in the giveaway. Any super chats, any buy me a coffee, it will get you into the duck race that we would do towards the end of the show. Where it's 12:35. We got about like.
I'm going to go with Carmine Falcone. I'm just saying, all right? You got to go with Carmine
Falcone. That's a good one. Okay, that's a good one from the Batman universe. If you guys don't know who the Falcones is. But yes, Eddie, another documentary about your lifetime and growing up in Gotham City.
Let me show a picture of the mug real quick so that people know what they're giving the super chat for. All right? I want to make sure that they know that ours and Jerry's beautiful face are on this mug. And you get to enjoy looking at me in the morning, which is such an honor. All right, here we go. So this is the mug right there that you get to lock into.
In the duck race.
Beautiful. All right, enter the duck race. $10 super chat or $10 buy me a coffee. Be entered to win that mug right there. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful with the orange on the inside.
Did you? I was about to say I don't see it. You don't.
I don't see it either.
Missed it.
What the crap? All right, let me try it again.
This would be like, what the fuck is he showing us?
It said it was showing on my end, which is crazy.
It's so beautiful, and it's got this, and he's wearing a whitey mesh.
There it is.
Wow.
There it is.
All right. Hey, there we are. Look at that. There's Jigga. There's Hector. There's Jerry. There's myself. It's beautiful. So lock in on that.
If you need more proof that we need money, that's our Vanna White. Look at it here. Nothing. Look at our.
So do we have an updated goal chart when it comes to what we've collected so far, just so the community can be transparent and know what we have?
I can get that. Sure. Be right back.
And include Tony's contribution, which is about $550 to fly us out there. So
thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Damn, that's good. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm doing some video work, so I'm still, working, but that's something that, he already had something going on and he included us, which was, really awesome to partner with him on that.
I want to take a time to give a quick shout out, right? I know he's injured right now, but I want to take a second to, shout out Julius Randle and the Randle family. Julius Randle, wife, Nick Scotland, is a fan from Scotland. He reached out to Julius Randle wife's on Twitter. This is what he put out there. Not the desired result, but I can only confirm that what all of Nick's Twitter already knew. Kendall Randle is the absolute GOAT. Photo on the court at halftime with the jersey, autographed by Julius Randle. Can't tell you how much this means to me. Thank you. Nick Scotland had an amazing time. And shout out to Julius Randle, wife, Kendra Randle, for this amazing chance for this young guy coming from
Yep.
Scotland. With the kill, got some nice J's on his feet as well. Gotta love that as well. So shout out to her. We always love taking time to highlight, little moments like that in the Knicks fandom.
Speaking
Did
of
you see the
Jay,
tweet? Did you see the tweet that he put out? He was like, that he doesn't something that he didn't think they were gonna see each other, and she said,
Yeah.
I'm coming to your seat at halftime, and
Mhm.
she followed through, man. That's a beautiful
That's
thing.
dope. That's
Yeah,
dope.
nah,
And speaking of
that's
Jays, real
dope.
quick, our guy
Go
Ben that we've highlighted on here before,
Mhm.
he made a post. Apparently, there's some like Knicks fans that were giving him crap or whatever about the fact that he likes wearing Jays, and he's just like, yo, that's the stupidest thing that you're saying because I'm a Knicks fan. I can't wear Jays. Like, yo, that's just silly. All right. If you look at those colorways, I don't really care. Those things are fire. Fashion over whatever stupidity that people have about not allowing Knicks fans to wear Jordans. That's crazy to me.
Now, the one thing I will say about that,
get it.
wait, hold on, wait. The one thing I will say about that is I will not wear a Knicks gear with the Jordan logo on it. It just because so much heartbreak. I just
That makes
can't do
sense.
that to myself. I
I
can't.
understand
I
that.
can't.
That's different. That's different. You got one of
that's
the
a
best
little
shoe
bit
companies in the world with
Yeah.
the best colorways. Like, come on, get out of here.
Yeah, that's it. And it'd be one thing if you're saying you can't wear Jordans and you have to wear Ewings, but just saying you can't wear Jordans, one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic sneaker, basketball sneaker in history. That's just crazy right now. But thank you, So you see it on the screen. As of right now, we are at $1,310. We are almost halfway to our goal of 3K. Listen, this is all powered by the community. We appreciate all of you guys who donated with us. CT Pittman, shout out to Tony as well, getting Celso and Phil into the city to make all of this possible. We appreciate all of you guys. Go ahead, Phil. I want to throw it over to you so you could give the community their flowers.
Yeah. So shout out to Tony. Shout out to my guy Nick's Homer. He's right now creating a really dope piece for us to promote that event and our time in the city. So, like we said earlier, we will be at that game. At that pregame show at Blarney's. Pre-game, during the game, post-game. We're trying to figure out how to actually do a live episode, maybe pre-game or something like that. And then we're trying to work out some things for some guest appearances on some stuff. We'll keep you guys posted on that. But then that Pistons game, if you are in the city and you want to hang out with us that Monday, we got discounted tickets. We want to freaking hang out. We need about 7 other tickets, probably I think 6 more tickets to get, commitments on so that we can have that. And then if more people decide they want to join, we can figure out how to get more of those tickets. But if you are down to link with us, like Hector said earlier, we get about $30, $35 discount on having that group rate, our own section that we'll all be chilling in. So we'd love to have you guys come hang out with us. And if you are in the city and you just want to grab a lunch or a coffee with us, shoot us a message. Let's connect.
When it comes to the prices, we're not taxing nobody. We're not making no money off. This is the same price that we're getting them from the sales rep. It's the same price that we'll offer it to you guys.
I got a question about
taxes and everything. Go ahead, Al.
Because you said it's your own waiter and all that stuff, correct?
Not your own waiter, but it's like your own little food court area that's literally right behind you. So instead of having to go with a shit ton of people, it's literally just a private area right behind you where you go and you get your food.
Because when I sat there, I had my own little area with like 8 seats or whatever it was, and in that area you just had to tip them beer and food. That's not it, right?
No, that's not it.
So.
It's right next to it. It's right next to it. I know what you're talking about because but it's in that area. You're talking about the Chase area that had like its own little private road to get to each room.
That's why I had when I went to the Big East. I went to the Big East final. That's what I just wanted to clear that up.
It's in the same area though, in the same vicinity.
And do you have a link for that I can share with people, other Knicks fans that might want to join in or whatever? Do you have a link?
We should have the link and everything ready to go by tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say it now. We're gonna go in and tell them we already got 10 spoken for. But the goal is that we can get about 20 people that want to rock out. The way it's working now is gonna be like $120 a ticket. If you guys look for that section right now online, they're going for 160. So we were able to work out a good deal. We're just finalizing everything now so we can get the whole community together. So the link will be out there. But you know what? Let me do this real quick, guys, and then I'll let you get back to Knicks talk and rock out. But here's the people that actually entered. Let's do a giveaway. We're doing the
Let's do the duck race.
mug. We've got a couple of people in here. Look at that. We've got a George Washington duck. Ladies and gentlemen, let the race begin. We got a minute and seconds on the clock. Hey, welcome everybody to the Knicks Morning Brew Duck Race giveaway. They're fun. You pay for them. You like them. Della Music 50 looking all kinds of educated with that lovely George Washington hairdo. We got Construction, formerly known as Steve, the construction worker, holding second place. Everybody in the back kind of relaxing, hanging out, a little quiet. Jeep the Beast thinks he's gonna fool people coming in looking like a bee. Good job.
I don't know. My money's on winner. The name is Winner. I think my money on Winner.
Hey, we got 24 seconds on the clock. Jeep the Beast trying to pull out a little bit.
What is happening?
Here we go.
Winner.
He can't. The random winner can't win because he's not a duck. He's a bear, Phil. He can't. With 10 seconds on the clock.
Oh, come on, winner!
Coming from behind. Who will it be? Ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Random.
What am I saying? Hitman.
Random winner.
CT Pittman, the random
CT
winner.
Pittman.
He said, "Don't put him in minutes," so I put it as random winner. So
all right, CT. Who do you want to give it to? Who do you want to give it to, CT? Out of the people that were in the race, you pick a random name.
Wow, that's dope. Yeah, CT, you pick whoever in the chat, folks in the chat. CT Pittman's gonna pick out who is gonna get the duck race. But boys, we got a game later on today.
Hold on, Phil. Don't do that to that man. Don't have to pick CT Pittman. Just pick somebody. No favorites. He'll never be in the chat again. I'll go ahead and do a randomizer right now.
Go ahead, do the randomizer.
A number from the chat. All right.
All right.
All right, so we got a game tonight. You know, New York Knicks. Isaiah Hartenstein is questionable. I think Jericho Sims is questionable for tonight's game as well. The New York Knicks take on the Houston Rockets, who are 23-29. I'm not going to say, you know, this is a must-win game, but, you know, I don't want a 3-game losing streak. So, you know, I kind of want the team to be able to get this game. It's a team under 500. We normally handle those teams well. I think we only got one loss against a team under 500 so far this season. So I'm going to throw it over to Al. Give us your take for tonight's game. What's your keys? And do you think Hartenstein will be back? And if he's available, should we even play him?
No, I said it earlier. I'm more than happy, and I never. That's like tanking, but I'm more than happy letting him sit and get the extra rest. I do not want to take a chance. So the last thing we need is for his Achilles to give out going into the All-Star break. That'll put a huge black cloud over this team's head. So I just rest the guy. Just rest him. I think we got enough firepower to beat Houston. I would like to split these two games, Houston and the Magic. I know I don't want a losing streak neither, but if the losing streak means that the guys get rest and we got to sacrifice short-term for long-term success, then I'm all for it. I think the spread is 4 tonight, which scares me. It's a 4-point spread. The Knicks are 4-point favorites. They're giving up 4. Yeah, the Knicks it's -4. The Knicks are -4 tonight. But listen, just health is my big thing. It's not the Rockets, not the Magic. The Knicks first, health. Just get through these games healthy.
Yeah, I'm with you, Al. Tonight, what scares me is the Sengun matchup. We don't have anybody that could go up against him.
Joker Jr.
I mean, I think he's going to light us up tonight. And honestly, I don't really care about the next 2 games. I'm with you, Al. This team just needs to get healthy. And if we got to rest everybody for the next 2 games, so be it. We come out firing after the All-Star break. That's when everybody's going to come together. These next 2 games, I don't give a shit. If they could lose for all I care. Just come back healthy in the after the All-Star break. Get that chemistry going into the playoffs. I think that's the most important thing.
Yep.
Yeah. I think when it comes to iHeart, I'm with Al on this one. Sit him. Let him sit the next 2. Even if he's available, sit his ass. Let him rest up. Because like Al pointed out, when it comes to your Achilles, it's a sign of fatigue. I pointed out the fact this is the first time in his career that he has been starting, logging these amount of minutes day in and day out. So rest iHeart. Let him come back after the All-Star break. If anything, let Jericho Sims play 40 minutes if he's available, coming back off of his his illness. I don't know if he'll be available for tonight.
It's got to be COVID related. They don't say that anymore. He's been out for a while. It's got to be COVID, or he's got the RS shitting his brains out like I had.
Something. That's a nice image to put in my mind.
Hey, I'm just keeping it 100. I always keep it real.
So there you say, yeah, you're right. It wasn't that Little Caesar pizza you had the night before that was 3 days old. Absolutely. Go ahead.
So here we go for tonight. One thing that we can hope on is it says that Sengun is day to day. With his back. So I don't believe he played in the last game. So he's day to day. So he may be out. Terry Eason is out. Cam Whitmore is out. Van Fleet, there's still no answer if he's in or out. He was out on their last game, I think, on the 6th. I don't know if he's played since then, but he was out with something. So if Sengun's out, I don't think, I think we have enough with our new signings to hold our own in that. Orlando, I think we should just chalk it up. Like, I don't want to rush Isaiah Hartenstein and, have him get injured before our All-Star break even more. So I would just tally that up as a loss, like, unless a miracle happens. But I think tonight, especially if Sengun is out, that we have enough, players to be able to contend, especially if Sims comes back. If Sims is back, play him. Like, he's one that I'm down to play after the illness no matter what. But he's still questionable up until game time. But either way, I think if we, are able to play tonight with Sengun out, we'll have a possibility of winning this game with Bogdanovic and Burks now being on the squad.
And JJ just put in the chat, Van Fleet is ruled out tonight.
We got to get this dub. We got to get this dub.
You never want to root for injuries, but, we got bit by the injury bug, so I ain't crying for nobody else. If Van Fleet is out, we got to take advantage of this game. Try to get it, even though we're injured as well. Like I said, rest Isaiah Hartenstein. Fellas, any last words before we get out of here, before we do a roll call? I'll throw it around to anybody. Any last words? Wow.
Let's go Knicks.
Awkward silence. Awesome.
No,
love to hear it.
I think you're gonna say.
All right. So Eddie, you're all of a sudden at a loss for words. But Eddie's words hit Twitter.
That's crazy.
Eddie's words hit Twitter hard earlier. Shout out to my guy Steve Lickman. He made a post. Eddie Presti hasn't cashed his Social Security check yet, so let's all go over to YouTube and help the Brew Crew Sports out. That's an actual tweet going on right now. So, shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Steve.
Shout out to me for the SSI rumors.
Let's just get this dub. Let's just get this W tonight. No Van Fleet. Sengun, they're probably going to sit him out because the same thing like Hartenstein. You don't want to give up long-term success for short-term success. So the Knicks got to get this W tonight, split these two games, and I'll be more than happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know I didn't get to hang out all show because we had a lot going on backstage and getting things prepared. One thing I'll say, it kind of feels like when you open Christmas presents with your kids and you didn't buy the freaking batteries for the toy, and now your kids are like, I want to play with the toy. I want to see it. That's how I feel our team is right now. We've got all these pieces. We know when we open that box, it's going to be freaking amazing when we put the batteries in it. We just got to tread lightly, man, these next two games. Luckily, these are two games that even not at full strength, we could walk away with. So let's get through the All-Star break. Let's get this team healthy, and let's show up and show out, man, because I don't see how this team cannot continue to have us jumping out the window for the rest of the season. I'm sorry.
Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride, Knicks fans.
Enjoy the ride. Yep.
On that
note, salute to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys. All of the contributions, all the super chats, all the coffees that were bought. We appreciate you guys. If you are in New York, stop slacking. Unless all we have in our, fan base of, people that view the show, if everyone's just out of state, then it means nothing. But if you're in the city and you're down the link, hit us up. We want to hang out.
This Wednesday, tune in with us. We got Jerry back on the show with us. We are definitely going to be doing, once we solidify everything with these tickets, we are going to do giveaways for the tickets this Wednesday. $20 buy-in gets you entered in to actually win one of the tickets to come hang out with us at the game for the Pistons game. On that note, before I do our usual outro deuces, Phil, I got to hit him with that Mecca one more time. Dio, Al, love you. Eddie, we love you. Phil, Heck, everybody in the chat, we appreciate all y'all hanging out with us. On that note, Deuces.
Check 1 2. New York over everything. Let's go Knicks. Yo, check it. There's a stark difference. See, I come from these streets when it's checkout time. I'm bagging anyone who wants me. Raps and richer story, so I have to take advantage. Hold it down for those around me. Like 23, I'm a savage. You average, I ravage. And if my team is trailing, you can call me Mr. Clutch. My rhyme skills resemble Jalen. Small bully ball, my execution is timely. Like Burks, I move on and leave a losing team behind me. Now my style's a lot more polished, and I strive not to be reckless. Rings always on my mind, I fight for it, my precious. Battle tested like Bogdanovic, my skill set's a conglomerate. A legacy of grit, the opposition has to honor it. The heart in number 3, here's a L, you can wear it. You hate when I speak facts, some couldn't bear it. Start slow to speed it up, attack from every angle. Please don't know the strangle, count me out, I'll rise like Randle. Rough around the edges, yeah, I'm far from perfection. Put me to the test, I guarantee you'll face rejection. I heart, I soul, I am not one to downplay. I can do it all, the versatility of Dante. So doubt me all you want, that's fine, it's how you feel. But don't be surprised when you make my highlight real. I'm real stubborn in my views of hip-hop. I'm like Tibbs, cause old school beats and rhymes is where I'll always live. Place my bets on my vets, security and an OG. The only ones who test me are the ones who do not know me. So homie, try to hold me and get outlined in chalk. Like McBride, you are not built for these miles that I've walked. Keep the